Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. You may have to forgive me a little bit. My throat has been hurting a little bit recently, so the video may be a little short or my voice may sound a little odd. That's the reason why. Today, though, I wanted to talk about the future of the Overwatch League, the remainder of the season, what types of things to expect going forward. And for that, I'm going to focus primarily on this post that was made by Jon Spector, who is the vice president of operations, I think, for the Overwatch League. He is just the VP, I guess. I don't know exactly what he's the VP of, but he's the VP of the league. And he had both a Reddit post and a Twitter twit longer that he posted talking about the future of the season. So I'm going to link to the twit longer in the description down below. It's the same thing on Twitter and Reddit, but I'm just going to post the twit longer because that's what I'm reading right here, right now. So I'm going to use this kind of a background to talk about the future of the league for the rest of this season. And that's where we're gonna go. So he talks about how it's been a couple months since he shared any thoughts and what things are doing more broadly. So he now wants to talk about some of the big topics. And the first one is tournaments. And he says about this, with 2 tournaments in the books, where we've been thrilled by the results. The matches have been incredible, producing instant classics and creating some amazing storylines. Viewership for those matches has been encouraging too. The May Melee and Summer Showdown Asia region finals were our most watched matches of all time in Asia, and viewership results were strong in other markets as well. He follows this by saying that he's psyched for the Countdown Cup in August. He says we are still working on 2021 format concepts, and the uncertainty around the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has made that really challenging. It's clear that monthly tournament cycles are compelling, and we want to do something similar next year too. Ultimately, we want to find a way to blend the excitement of homestands around the world with the monthly tournament structure we've developed for online matches. We will need more time to set and share specific 2021 plans, though, as we need to account for many different scenarios. Expect to hear more in the off-season. I've seen some commentary of make every weekend a tournament, why even have regular season matches? I believe that a lot of what makes these tournaments special is that they are not happening every weekend, and we have a few weeks leading up to each tournament to build the hype. We also know that tournament weekends with that many matches are taxing on players and coaches, and like giving them time between tournaments to rest and reset. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the regular season. I do like the regular season. It's a format I actually like. But I also love the tournaments. And the tournaments are very, very, very good because the tournaments give you a lot more kind of interesting stuff going on. It's more meaningful, a lot of these matches. And that's what I think is the main thing going on here. And that's why I really like what they are doing with the tournament structure. And I hope that going forward you get kind of a both regular season and tournament structure, because I prefer that. But I think it's encouraging to know that tournaments are planned for 2021, because I think it'll make it better. I thought staged playoffs were good, and I think that getting rid of them was going to be a problem going forward. I think it was going to kind of break up, or it helped break up a lot of what made the season very rough. And I think that tournaments are a good way to go. They might do more like regional tournaments. You might have like, teams play matches in, Boston, New York, and Toronto over the course of a couple weeks, and then they play a tournament in one of those cities, or Florida, Atlanta, and Houston, or Florida, Atlanta, and Washington. Something like that. I think would be an interesting thing to see, where they kind of keep things somewhat close together, so you don't have teams traveling really far distances. You just kind of have them traveling between a few cities and then going back to one place in particular. I don't really know, but I think it's promising to hear that they want to continue doing tournaments going forward, because I've loved the tournaments so far. I think they've been incredible, and I think that more tournaments is going to be better. And that's what I think they will do with tournaments going forward. The next thing that Jon touches on are playoffs. And what he says here, somewhat brief, is we've spent a lot of time talking with all teams and exploring different options for a revamped playoff structure this season. While we've done our best to balance out things like strength of schedule for teams over the course of the full 2020 calendar, Trying to update the playoffs format in a way that feels fair to all teams and is operationally viable has been very challenging. Our planned structure will give all 20 teams a path to make it into the playoffs, although teams that are higher in the standings will receive meaningful advantages. We believe this approach is the best way to acknowledge the specific challenges of the 2020 regular season while appropriately rewarding the teams that performed best throughout the year. We should be ready to share specifics very soon. Now, I don't know what it's going to be. I think there's a possibility that it's like a 16-team bracket, but the 15 and 16 seed have to qualify in a, like a play-in based on the final 6 teams in the standings. That's one that I've had in my head as a potential option. That gives all 20 teams the opportunity to get in, but it gives meaningful advantages to, your 14 highest seeded teams because they automatically make it. And then you just have it seeded, 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14, etc., etc. And you just do like a single elimination bracket that way. That's a way to do it. I don't know if they want to do single or double elimination. Double elimination is nice because it gives you stuff like the San Francisco Shock storyline from last season. I like single elimination because I'm a traditional sports fan, and single elimination is usually what it is. Or it's a series. It's either a series or single elimination. It's not like you lose a series and you have the ability to come back. Like that isn't really how it's done. But I do like the idea of a playoffs system that will include more than just, your top 12 teams. I like one that includes all the teams because things have been different, and how can you really say for sure how good a team like Chengdu is when they haven't played against teams in North America? They could be better than a lot of teams in North America. We just don't know. The final thing he touches upon is hero pools. And he says, while we set the approach for the rest of the 2020 season and believe this is the best iteration of the system so far, as we plan for 2021, we will take another look at hero pools together with other related format decisions. I believe the current system is responsible for a lot of the fluidity we have seen in the meta recently, and that rotating hero pools every few weeks coupled with balance changes, for example, Genji dramatically returning to action for the Summer Showdown, has worked well. But we are open to revisiting the approach here and plan to review all the data we have gathered from this season and experiment with other ideas in the off season. Hero pools are weird. I'm glad they're not in live, so for me it's like, yeah, that's fine. But where I'm curious to see what they do within the Overwatch League, because I don't really think it's as needed, but I also don't think that we would get stuff like the Summer Showdown and how exciting it was without hero pools and without people having to try new things and do different things. Speaking of hero pools, but I do want to give some more thoughts on kind of Jon Spector's post as a whole, but the hero pools for the next 2 weeks were revealed yesterday, and they are Mei, Widowmaker, Orisa, and Ana, which I think is really cool. Ana being out is a little unfortunate because it hurts Genji, and Widowmaker being out is unfortunate because Widowmaker's fun to watch, but Orisa Mei being out hopefully means more dive possible, or more dive is possible. I would love to see some more dive get play. Ana not being playable hurts Genji, so who knows, but it is interesting to see that is the hero pool. And like I said, dives that I hope we get. But Jon's thoughts, I think, are good. It gives me hope because I like a lot of what Jon is saying. There's not many things that he said that I was like, oh, I don't really agree with that, if anything at all. I like the regular season format. I do think that regular season needs to be broken up. I think just having regular season homestand matches every single weekend would be awful and would be tiring, and teams would get burnt out. And I think that it's for the best that they get rid of it. So I think it's important to recognize where you need to make format changes. And I love these tournaments. I don't know if I like the tournaments in the sense of like you get seasonal wins. I think it would be better if it was like points, where you play qualifying matches for the tournaments and they count in some sense, but how you perform in the tournaments gives you points, right? And you get points based on your season performance as a whole, right? So every threshold of wins, every 5 wins, for example, every 4 wins, for example, you get a point or 2, right? So if there's 28 games and you get however many points for a certain number of wins, right? Those are what build up. But tournaments are good ways so that if you do well in a tournament, you get for every maybe every tournament win you get a point, right? So you get more points from being able to play in a tournament, right? So it can help teams who perform well in the tournaments if they're not playing super well maybe in the regular season. Who knows? That's always the type of stuff that people who are smarter than me will figure out because I don't really know much about it. But I have hope based on what Jon has said. I'm intrigued to see what goes on in 2021. It gives me hope that they're saying like there is going to be a 2021 season, and I expect there to be one. But everyone always says like, will there be a 2021 season? And this to me was pretty much Jon saying there will be a 2021 season. Don't worry, which I was only a little bit worried about there not being a 2021 season. With the way COVID's going on, I think it's a lot more possible that we don't get a season, or if there was more of the possibility, but this gives me hope that that isn't something to worry about any longer. So that makes me happy, and I'm excited to see what the future of the league holds. But that's all I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts on anything I talked about in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, consider liking and subscribing. And yeah, so thank you once again. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy, and I will see you all next time. Bye.